Charlamagne the God spreads truth about America's decline. And a few Democrats are in an uproar that Charlamagne is actually telling the truth about how America is worse off under Biden than they were under Trump. A lot of people on the Democrat plantation are waking up to this fact. And we have rappers, we have influencers, we have radio personalities like Charlamagne that are actually saying what's really going on and how Biden and the other Democrats are destroying this country. And some Democrats are mad about that. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. Has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram. My Instagram, I've been putting out a bunch of news there lately, so check that out as well. Also, a link to my merch store. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for news as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Some Democrats expressed frustration on Twitter as Charlamagne the God discussed America's social decline. I mean, if anyone's paying a little bit of attention, we can see what's going on here in this country. How we're putting illegal immigrants before our Americans, before our veterans, how inflation is killing the middle class and the poor. I mean, I can go on and on and on. America is worse off by every single metric that you look at. But in a move reminiscent of the World Economic Forum's misinformation crusade, Democrat strategist Amisha Cross labeled Charlamagne the quote biggest threat to fact-based news and policy, which is just utterly ridiculous. Cross criticized Charlamagne's so-called lack of policy knowledge and amplified voice, calling for better representation. I mean, this is what you do. Once you get off the plantation and you start speaking out against your masters, you have house Negroes like Miss Cross here pulling out the whip and hitting you with it and pulling you back in. That's exactly what's going on here. However, Charlamagne's statements, including concerns about immigration, were not disinformation. What he did was he highlighted the real issues voiced by working class people. These are issues that he's hearing from some of his followers, some of his listeners. Charlamagne noted a shift in awareness about immigration issues in the past year, with concerns ranging from MS-13 gangs to the impact on schools. He criticized Democratic NYC Mayor Eric Adams for welcoming illegal immigrants, holding President Biden responsible for the crisis. Now, Charlamagne acknowledged Republican governors' effective but what they call cruel immigration strategies. I don't think it's cruel. What I think is cruel is the wide open borders where they're pouring into these southern border states. And how are we supposed to be taking the brunt of it? Why do we have to suffer? We need to spread some of this out to the rest of the country, and that's exactly what governors like Abbott is doing. And the Democrats are up in arms about it because now they're feeling what we've been feeling for years. But he highlighted the perception shift among voters, with Democrats sounding like Republicans on the surface. Now, Cross's accusation of disinformation was ironically false, as Charlamagne's experience aligned with factual evidence. Her efforts to downplay Charlamagne's perspectives are part of a broader battle by certain groups to label differing views as misinformation or disinformation. If it's anything contrary to the leftist ideals, if it's anything contrary to the leftist message, then they consider it misinformation or disinformation. Now, Cross's panic inducing attempts seem to influence only a few, as most social media users saw through her nonsense. The podcaster Clifton Duncan supported Charlamagne's correctness, questioning Cross's stance, which had minimal agreement beyond a few questionable accounts. And they were if you look at them, most of them were bot accounts. The majority of the American people is actually agreeing with what Charlamagne the God has been saying about Biden's destruction of this country. But let me know what you think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.